in common is that we all have inventory-less business models. So I think that's such a key, sort of similar to what you guys are doing with homeware and with fashion that we're doing with flowers. My name is Whitney Hawkins. I started Flowerbox 5 years ago after working for the designer Tom Ford for 20 years. And I realized that as a working mom, I was buying everything in my life online. I was buying my clothes online. I was buying my beauty online. However, if I wanted to buy flowers, I didn't want to go to a florist and spend 3 times too much money for flowers that would die in 2 or 3 days. So I would go to the Covent Garden Flower Market. There I was in like heels and stilettos and a pencil skirt because I had Tom in the office at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, how come there's no solution? So I think, first of all, Flowerbox was a solution-driven, it was something I couldn't buy online. But then looking further into the floral industry, I realized that flowers traditionally, with the traditional florist model, they're sold to a florist, they're sold to the Covent Garden Market, they sit for 2 or 3 days, then they're sold to a florist, they sit for 2 or 3 days, then you buy them. So they're ostensibly a week old, they've been marked up 2 or 3 times, and really crucially, 40 to 50% of what's in a traditional florist is wasted. So second to food waste, floristry is one of the biggest, most wasteful industries. So I thought, why not create an inventory-less business model whereby we buy the flowers direct from the growers on order. So you order the flowers, for example, today in London. We cut them on your behalf. We now have a network of growers. We cut them on your behalf from the growers. They arrive tomorrow morning at our warehouse at 4 o'clock in the morning. We repurpose, recondition them, and send them out to you. So the flowers can't be fresher. Literally, it's impossible for them to be fresher. They haven't been marked up 2 or 3 times, and we, right now, will have 0 flowers in our warehouse. And 0 waste. As we start, as we're growing, and now we're reaching scale in the UK, we're in 23 countries across Europe, and now we've launched in the US. But as we achieve scale, we're able to buy more sustainably, buy more locally, and buy, with flower growers that have better practice. So for reference, it's funny because when I've gone to raise money, right now we're just closing our Series A, everyone's like, oh, that's cute, a flower business. I think from these numbers, I think we can all agree there's nothing cute about, in the US, it's a $22 billion industry, the cut flower industry. In the EU, it's $10 billion industry, and in the UK, $2.5 billion. And I also think COVID has, as we all know, accelerated the decline of bricks and mortar, so there's a real opportunity. First of all, that florist model didn't work, and you've never met a very successful florist because it's impossible to make that model work. So it's an industry that's ripe for disruption. Also, Interflora, 1-800-Flowers, any of the big global players depend on that local fulfillment. So they traditionally use local suppliers to fulfill the order. So if the local suppliers aren't there, which is what we saw throughout COVID, then this is where our model sort of really comes into play. And I think I explained already how our business model works, but I think what's also super exciting is there's so many people that are competing for the low AOV. There's a lot, Bloom and Wild Freddy's, I'm sure you've heard of, or all have sort of an average AOV of about 20, 25 pounds. I very purposely only buy premium quality product. We only sell, we're more competitive with what a traditional florist would sell than letterbox flowers, or we're not trying to compete with a 20-pound AOV. We're not most of our traffic, at 70% right now of our traffic is organic traffic, so we're not heavily dependent on digital marketing and sort of constant. We have super high customer retention rates. In year 3, 80% of our year 1 customers are still buying from us. So we're really focused on quality, experience, and really delivering beauty. I think back to what Laura was saying, it's like living your best life. You can live your best life with beauty around you and also connecting with other people. So I think that's something we sort of all have in common. So I think there's a big opportunity between the high-end florists and the sort of online players. And then this is just an example of some of the, we also have a B2B side of our business, which I didn't start out to have a B2B business, but it's really been a great customer acquisition channel for us. It's also these really huge scale. I don't know if you've seen the front of FedEx, which is up right now. It's been up for 7 weeks, but it's 40% margin, full, we've used all recyclable flowers, so it's also a great marketing tool for us. So we use the B2B channel not only as a profitable business, part of the business on its own, but it also is a customer acquisition channel, which allows us to be less dependent on sort of digital marketing. So that is all I have to say right now about Flowerbox, and I look forward to discussing more with these ladies.